Yo, what's good, YouTube? Sam Crow here, aka Scoot, back with the official Smogon Tournament 14, round 3, game number 1. We're facing off against Angel O, and I couldn't really find anything about him on any kind of replay, so I have no idea his playstyle or anything like that. So I decided, I built this team actually like the day before I had this battle. I built the team on Thursday and I played the battle on Friday. So yeah, there's that. It's actually I literally asked my roommate. I said, "You tell me 6 Pokemon and I will use all 6 of them I'll build a team using all 6 of those Pokemon." He said Zapdos, Suicune, and Charizard. I asked him which one. He said Mega Charizard X. Actually, he said the Dragon one, but that in my mind that equals Charizard X. And we got Metagross here with Landorus, Therian, and Clefable. So Clefable is our rock setter. Zapdos is a defensive Zapdos. I think it's more especially defensive than it is physically defensive. I think I swapped that. It might be physically defensive though. I don't really remember. I know I have physically defensive Clefable, especially defensive. Not. I have a mixed defensive Suicune. I got an AV, max attack, max HP, Metagross, Landorus with Swords Dance, Gravity, Fly, and Earthquake with the Flying MZ, and a Dragon Dance Zard with Dual Stab and Roost, I do believe. So, pretty hype. Suicune's actually a Protect, Calm Mind, Substitute, Scald variant, and Zapdos has 2 attacks, Roost and Defog, with Discharge and Heat Wave. So, yeah, Zapdos not doing too much against, say, Landorus or Latios, or the Latios, I should say. But Discharge and Heat Wave hurts everything else, and can get a little chip on the Metagross for, late game and whatnot. So, Suicune can potentially just win if I get rid of Kartana or burn it. Charizard can win if I weaken the Landorus and get up a Dragon Dance. Metagross is a nice check to Latias, nice check to Magearna, which is really cool. I have Meteor Mashes in Headbutt, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. Clear Body makes it to where Ice Punch is like guaranteeing a knockout on Landorus's that aren't physically defensive. And still, even then, it does like a buttload. And yeah, speaking of Landorus, we have our own Landorus, and after a Gravity, his own Landorus gets bought by Earthquake. Everything gets bought by Earthquake. And then I got the Z-Fly, which is nice. So after a Swords Dance, like if I Swords Dance up and he brings in his Landorus, I can just click Z-Fly, and it should drop. And if he wants to double out to get another Intimidate off, whatever comes in, more than likely going to drop. And if it don't, then it'll drop in conjunction with Earthquake after the Gravity. So yeah, and now Clefable is my Stealth Rock setter. Moonblast, Wish Protect is pretty standard Clefable. So let's hop into the match here. He leads off with his Medicham. I'll lead off with Clefable, so I get rocks up here. He goes for the Fake Out. He gets a little chip, but not too much, and he's able to realize that I'm more than likely a defensive variant that should be able to repetitively come in on the Medicham. He hard switches out into his Magearna, fearing Clefable's Moonblast more than likely, and I didn't want to hard switch into Landorus, predicting the Volt Switch, and him go for Ice Beam. I've lost a lot of my Landorus that way on the ladder, so I'm just going to make the safer play and go into my Metagross. If he Volt Switches, so be it. I have switch-ins to anything that wants to threaten my Metagross, so there's that. If he went into Landorus, then I would go into my own Landorus or Zapdos. If he went into Greninja, I'd go into Suicune, etc., etc. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just going to hard switch out here, go back into Clefable. High Jump Kick's not doing much. If you wanted to predict Landorus and go for Ice Punch, it wasn't doing much either. Now I can just throw off a Wish. And He's going to go back into the Magirna. I'm going to go back into the Metagross. I want to condition him to make sure that he's going to go for Volt Switch every time. And now that I know he is, I can go into my Landers on the next time he brings in the Magirna. So now he's got his Greninja in. And I think my play is to go hard into Suicune here. I don't want to take a Dark Pulse, and I don't want Clefable taking a Hydro Pump. So Suicune is the best middle ground play, taking the Hydro Pump and the Dark Pulse pretty well. And it also catches the Landorus double, which he goes for. I'm just going to throw off a Scald here, I think. Yeah, I do. So there's that. Here I can just click, actually I go hard in my Landorus predicting the Volt Switch. Yeah, that's it this time. Instead of going in my Metagross or predicting him to do anything funky, I just go hard into my Landorus. And I don't know if I actually make a play here. Yeah, I do. Predicting his own Landorus, I double out into my Suicune. And I could have went for the Swords Dance there and then bopped him with the Supersonic Sky Strike, but I did see leftovers earlier, so I'm inclined to believe that he is more physically defensive than originally thought. And it makes sense because defensive Landorus and AV Magirna are like a staple on OU teams since the beginning of Sun and Moon, really. So he doubles into his Latias, or switches out into his Latias, I should say. Takes the Scald and gets burnt, so pretty decent position in case he is like a Earthquake. And Metagross now 100%, checks this. I'm going to go hard into my Metagross now. It covers the Draco play, and it covers the switch into Magirna, predicted my own Clefable. So that's pretty neat. And here I can just click Ice Punch, predicting his Landers. Like he needs Magirna for Clefable. He needs Magirna for, I guess, sort of like can check Zapdos and Suicune to an extent. Can take hits from him and waste, I guess longevity turns and whatnot. But here, I'm just going to click the Ice Punch. There's no way he's leaving his Magirna in. Just going to click the Ice Punch, and down goes the Landers. So conditioned him up a little bit, and then made a play, and I'm pretty happy about that. Can just go back into the cycle now. Just throw back in my Clefable here. He can't do much to it. I can throw off a Wish, throw off a Protect, throw off a Moonblast, and yeah, just throw off a Wish there. Can make sure that Metagross comes in 100% healthy as he goes for the Iron Head this turn, which is neat because now I can just click the Mash or the Earthquake. I think I click the Earthquake here. Yeah, I click the Earthquake there, and do bop the Kartana a little bit, and now I can just hard switch into my Zapdos. As you can see, I feel like I had a really good matchup this match. At team preview, obviously, didn't know what team he would bring or anything like that, and once I saw team preview, I felt like I had a pretty good matchup. So he makes these doubles to put himself in a better position, but like my team's so like has such a good matchup versus his that I don't really have to predict anything. Here, going to my Landers, just get the Intimidate off. Not realizing that that Clefable is actually unaware, so I'm unaware of his attack drop as well, meaning that he'll still be doing well over 50%. He just did 50% to Landers as well, which is pretty scary. But he doesn't see leftovers, and he doesn't know I'm a Z-move user, so he's actually inclined to believe that I may be Scarf, and he doesn't want to take an Earthquake, so he's going to hard switch into his Lottie. I almost pulled the Supersonic Sky Strike there, predicting the, just to make sure I could guarantee a kill. But here he goes for the Healing Wish, and actually is going to be able to Healing Wish his Magirna back up, which luckily for me, I still have my Metagross, which is really, really solid. So I can just throw off a Protect here, make sure I'm out of range of anything, and at this point I think he's going to go for the Volt Switch. I think he's going to Volt Switch out, so I'm going to go for the Wish. I know I live a Flare Cannon or a Flash Cannon or anything like that, because he's an AV set, and just go for the Wish here, can Protect. He hard switches into Meta Jam. I can just click Protect again, no reason not to. And I can switch into Landers, or I can just throw off a Moonblast. I think I'll throw off another, yeah, I think I'll throw off a Moonblast, yeah. It is a Moonblast. It does nothing. Can just Protect here, see what he wants to go for. He goes for the Iron Head. and he's more than likely going to predict me to predict the volt switch, and I'm actually going to predict that myself and go for my Landers play. And now I just got free earthquakes like 100% of the time. Earthquake Cartana drops, and Greninja would drop as well. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for the Shuriken because he thinks I'm Scarf. I played my Landers like it's a Scarf Landers all match. Haven't revealed Rocky Helmet, haven't revealed Leftovers, anything like that. Obviously, I can't reveal it because I don't have it. Here he goes into his Zapdos as I double out. I mean, he goes into Magearna as I double out from my Zapdos into my Metagross and bop the Magearna with the Earthquake. So, pretty happy about that. He goes into the Medicham here. I don't have a switch in, so, and I don't need Metagross anymore, so I'm just going to let that bad boy go down. He's put in his fair share of work. If he gets a flinch here, it would be unfortunate, but he does not, and I just drop him with the Moonblast. Had he did get a flinch there, I would have then just sacked Clefable, potentially. Went into Landers to get the Intimidate off on the Medicham, and then set up with my Zard and won. And if like Mega Medicham did enough damage to put Zard in Water Shuriken range from Grin, then Suicune and Zapdos won anyway, so not too big of a deal. Clefable able to pick up the knockout there, and I'm going to click the Protector as he goes for the Hydro Pump. It's his best play. It's going to do the most damage to everything. And I'm actually going to sack my Landers here because it loses to Greninja anyway. It's not Scarf like he thought it was. And I can just go into my Suicune here and reveal what kind of set I actually am. He's going to go for the Hydro Pump here. And I think I can just click Substitute after this turn, knowing that he's not going to be able to do too much to me. And I can start Calm Minding up. And I'm actually going to run him out of Hydro Pumps as well, because Hydro Pump only has 8 PP, and Pressure Stall is going to make the Greninja struggle, and I can just throw off Scalds here. I don't need to Calm Mind up because of the struggle, and I can just throw off Scalds. So it's going to be game. And we come away with a nice 4-0 victory. It looked like a 6-0, but I didn't need to preserve Metagross. I didn't need to preserve Landers. I could have saved Metagross. I could have saved Landers, but no reason, real reason to. I was fearful that if I tried to preserve differential that I could end up losing. So yeah, that's going to be game 1 of round 3, and we'll move on to game 2. Alright, so here we are in game 2, and facing the same opponent obviously, and I'm bringing Rain this time. This is a Rain team I built earlier in the week. It's super fun and destroys like the ladder up until you get to about the 1650, 1700ish. This absolutely destroys low ladder. They cannot play around it. They have no option other than to just let all 6 of their Pokemon die or forfeit and leave, or trash their computer or whatever. They can't beat this team. If you're below 1650, you can't beat this team. It struggles against other rain. It struggles against other weather, and it struggles against, what was the last one? It struggled against something else. I'm not real sure, but I have a Swampert here, Mega Swampert with Waterfall, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. I'll save my last move as a secret for now. Yeah, I do 100% showcase what that move is in this match. I have Pelipper, a defensive Pelipper, the defensive set for rain setting. Mostly Spadef. But has a little bit of defense investment. Scald, U-Turn, Roost, and Defog, I believe. And Ludicolo, my other rain sweeper, with Giga Drain, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and the Hidden Power Fire. Outside of rain, Life Orb, Hidden Power Fire from a modest Ludicolo does a fuck ton to Ferrothorn. Actually, looking at his team, if I can beat the sand down, if I can get rid of the sand and set up rain and Ferrothorn's gone, or if Ferrothorn's gone and I can just set up rain and not fearful of T-Tar's sand, I can pretty much just, like, my rain's going to run through him if I can play properly. Ferrothorn has kind of a bad matchup this match, although he does have Greninja and his own Ferrothorn and Tyranitar. He still has the Volcarona and the Zapdos, which, bop Ferrothorn pretty hard. The good thing I do have is Tapu Koko here. It outspeeds his entire team. And I have Taunt, so that I can taunt Volcarona, I can taunt it. The Ferrothorn, prevent it from getting the hazards up or elite seed or whatnot. I can prevent Tyranitar from setting up late game if it's like Coco and if it's Coco and Torn versus say Zapdos and Tyranitar, and I knock the Zapdos out with Thunder, and then Tyranitar comes in, it's going to set up and then try to sweep a late game mini sweep, then I can just taunt it and prevent that from happening. Also have taunt on Tornadus Therian with U-turn, Hurricane, knockoff, taunt, and the Flyinium Z. So Hurricane's like bopping shit. Coco is a Thunder Zap plate set. I probably should run Thunderbolt, but in the rain I just felt like Thunder was too good to pass up. Thunder, U-turn, Hidden Power Ice, and taunt. I am running Zap plate. I did build a team similar to this with a Shukaberry, and that'll be important later in the match. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So he leads Ferrothorn as I lead Pelipper. I felt like Pelipper was my best lead, even if he gets his rocks up, which is makes sense to me. I'm just going to set my own rocks up, and then we're going to exchange knockoffs. As he actually hard switches into his Zapdos on my knockoff, and he reveals not to be pressure, so he's likely a static set. But as long as I don't get paralyzed on anything, I don't really mind what kind of Zapdos he actually is. So here I'm going to hard switch into my Coco, so I can just start firing off some hard thunders. He could go into his Ferrothorn, but I can just taunt it. If he goes into his Landers, then I could Hidden Power Ice it, assuming that it's not Scarf, you know. Obviously, if it's Scarf, it would just bop me. But here I get the taunt off, and then I'll hard switch out to my Torn as he goes into Tyranitar. I do not expect this thing to be Scarfed, and I think I outspeed even if it is, so I just U-turn out here. Go back into my Ferrothorn as he goes for the Ice Punch. Not exactly sure what he was predicting. Maybe Ice Punch just hits Ferrothorn harder than Stone Edge does. But I'm going to double out into Pelipper because Volcarona is a threat, and I can't let that happen. So I'm just going to U-turn out now and go into one of my Rain Sweepers. But he goes into Ferrothorn, so I can just go back into Torn and fire off. I think I've shown Taunt. No, I haven't shown Taunt. Okay, so I had to throw off a Hurricane there and got about 30% chip on him. Then I could have maybe went for the Supersonic Sky Strike on the following turn after some calcs. I wouldn't just click it, but after some calcs I might have. But yeah, so I bring in I U-turn out into Swampert, and I don't get burned on the Heat Wave from the Zapdos. And he's going to most certainly hard switch into his Ferrothorn, being his only water resist on his team outside of Greninja, which isn't really a Mega Swampert resist anyway. So as you can see, I'm tightening up my focus, meaning I've released the Focus Blast. The Focus Punch. And yeah, speaking of Focus Punch, game 1, I was so focused into that battle, and I think that's why it was really long, but really safe playing, and like rarely, like I made a few plays in it, you know, like some doubles and some predictions and stuff, but I played really safe that match. So here he goes into Tyranitar and gets rid of my Rain, but unless he's like Jolly max speed, then I'm still going to outspeed him here, and I can just click the Waterfall. My opponent goes into Zapdos, fishing for that static. He's fishing for that static paralysis, and here I could just okay, so outside of Rain, Zapdos is more than likely faster than Mega Swampert by like 2 points or 3 points if it's like the normal 20 speed EV Zapdos. So I was predicting him to go for Roost on my next Waterfall, and I actually went for Earthquake. And he goes into his Landers, which isn't a terrible, it's not a bad play whatsoever. Here I'm going to go into Pelipper as he actually just U-turns out, so now he gets momentum back into his Tyranitar, back into his Zapdos, whatever he chooses. And he chooses the Tyranitar, and here I'm just going to hard switch into my Ferrothorn. At that range, Banded Pursuit had to get a maximum roll to knock me out, and that's if he's like I said, banded, max attack, offensive and whatnot. I just hard switch out into Ferrothorn because he goes for the Stone Edge and does a whole lot more than Ice Punch did earlier, so I'm not sure why he clicked Ice Punch earlier. And I'm just going to double out into Coco. Now here, this is going to give me some valuable information. If this Landers outspeeds me and goes for U-turn, then he's Scarf. And if he outspeeds me and goes for Earthquake, he's also Scarf, in which I can go into my Torn, I can go into my Pelipper, etc., etc. Start getting off some damage. However, if he's not Scarf, then this Hidden Power Ice isn't going to do as much thanks to the sand, but it's still going to do a decent amount, and it will potentially get some chip, and he could also be U-turning on this turn, predicting me to switch out. So if I get the Hidden Power Ice off and he does U-turn, that'd be really nice. Coco doesn't win me this match, so I'm going to risk it here. Since I'm relying on my Rain Sweepers and Tornado Therian to win this match for me, I'm just going to risk my Coco here. And it turns out that he is actually Choice Scarf, and he goes right for the Earthquake and bops me. I thought about this play for a long time. As you can see over here, my countdown was going down really, really quick. And the reason I thought about it for so long is I thought I was a Sugarberry variant. And then I looked at my team, did the calcs and whatnot, and I was like, why does it do so much? And it turns out that I wasn't Sugarberry, and I was actually Zap Plate. So then I just decided, hey, I'm going to risk it anyway. But yeah, that's the story behind that. So here I can bring out Pelipper, and I can Roost as he goes for Earthquake. He's locked into Earthquake, but I'm just going to click Scald. It was kind of a no drawback. If he went in Tar and got burnt, if he went in Zapdos and got burnt, then I was in a good position. Here he goes into Zapdos and Roost, and I'm just going to pray I can win right now with Swampert as long as I don't get paralyzed, and Zapdos can't survive another one, so I'm going to go for that Earthquake again. I mean the Waterfall again, and he sacks off his Tyranitar, getting rid of his Sand. Questionable play there. I don't really agree with it because I felt like he needed his Sand to combat my Rain, but maybe he felt like Zapdos could do it for him. But yeah, here I'm going to hard switch into my Swampert on the discharge and go for the Waterfall, knock his ass out, but I get fully paralyzed. So here he's going to bring in his Greninja, goes for the Hydro Pump and misses. So a little bit of justice there for the paralysis, and my opponent's going to forfeit. The reason my opponent forfeited was because even if he had Giga Drain, it would knock me out here, but I would go into Torn and Revenge Kill him. If he went for Quiver Dance, my play was to always hard switch into Tornado Therian to make sure that he couldn't set up more than once. So if he set up one Quiver Dance, I could go into Torn, take any one hit, because like Giga Drain's not going to knock me out. Fiery Dance won't knock me out under Rain, even at +1, and Bug Buzz won't knock me out. And that was the set I figured he was. Quiver Dance 3 attacks. Potentially a Hidden Power ground set, so he might not have had Giga Drain, he might not have had Bug Buzz. It's just really dependent, but either way he couldn't knock out Torn in one hit. Even after a Quiver Dance, I hard switch into Torn and click Z-Fly and knock out the Volk. And even if I didn't knock out the Volk, say he went for let's see here. Say he went for like Shattered Psyche into Psychic, knocked out my Torn, and then I would just bring in my Ludicolo and finish him anyway. So yeah, that's going to be the end of round 3 for me, and we'll be moving on to round 2. I mean, that was the end of round 3. We're moving on to round 4. That drops. The announcement for round 4 is supposed to drop on the 11th, but it's been really. This is a complex tournament, and it's going to take a long time to finish. So just bear with them. And bear with me as my uploads come, maybe every week for the OST tournament. So yeah, let me know what you thought about the couple battles. Wish me luck in the following rounds, and yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.